and whatnot as well too. So we're gonna probably try to get into our next topic. You want to set up the thing we didn't set up yet?
Oh shit, yeah, that's right.
So we'll start talking. So
Corner of the
one of the
basement.
things is we typically
Those are
don't when we have you on. We've got this back here because I think this will be a little bit more of the main conversation with the AEW there. But and plus you've actually gotten a chance to do some AEW work. But we really don't talk a lot about wrestling when you're on,
Right.
and I really wanted to get some of your thoughts now, as I'm calling it, the state of wrestling, because I feel like we're in our 4th year now, recently just celebrated, of AEW being, on TV, and still evolving, still doing different things as well too. We've seen a lot of things happen with WWE over the year. We've seen a lot of movement in the industry, not just the two bigs either. And we're talking all of them. There's movement going on, where people are going here, going there, whatever it might be. But, in the last year and a half, especially, I just feel like I'm not saying it's Monday Night War caliber, because it's far from that quite yet. But what it is it's getting to the point where, like, especially when you see Wembley and things that AEW did, it's getting to the point where they're all starting to catch up in some ways. They're never going to catch WWE anytime soon, I don't believe. But for 4 years, what AEW has done has been a pretty big deal in my thoughts.
Yeah.
But the point overall is just that, it's an interesting time right now in wrestling, and I feel like it's almost like a golden era of, like, this reemergence of popularity. Like, I mean, you look at how New Japan has now even got its hooks in American folk now.
Yeah.
The indies are getting super big and popular, even like the AA Pros, Glory Pro, I mean, these days I feel like people, where in the past would just stick with like main brands and main television, I almost feel like it's kind of like going the opposite direction now. Like, that might be their entry, but now people are really starting to dig into like more of the indie stuff and watching what people are doing on a smaller scale as well too. So like I said, overall, I just want to jump into some of those thoughts. I want to pause real quick. I know you want to get this going, so I'll let Dude take over just for a minute.
We are doing a giveaway tonight. We'll be giving away a Rohit Raju t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees to one lucky winner. We're starting the giveaway right now. The winner will be drawn in about an hour, so we'll probably be balls deep in the Ahsoka discussion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to give everyone a chance to get in here, enter in to win. The giveaway begins now. ! Enter for a chance to win, and you have to be... Cuddles, that is not the entry code.
Balls deep. !
Enter to enter in, and it'll announce the winner here in about an hour. And then we'll get your details, your information afterwards to make sure you get your Rohit Raju shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Pro Wrestling
Yes, perfect.
Tees.
So that's kind of where I want to start. Like, just generally with that, all that I said, like, what are your initial thoughts on, like, just generally wrestling right now?
I love that it is. See, I'm weird, okay, because I am very critical. I'm horrible sometimes. I'm my own worst critic, so I critique other wrestling. I agree that it's a golden age of wrestling as far as the popularity coming back, but I don't think the wrestling, and this is me being the old man screaming, "Get off my lawn." I don't think the pro wrestling is as good as it was, because I think it can get there, but I do love what AEW has done. I think if AEW can tighten a few things up, it'll be a contender at WWE. As of late, WWE has been firing on all cylinders, and that's because you have certain people in charge, and Roman has really revamped himself, and it's been interesting. The whole bloodline thing was great. Finally, you have, I almost called him Eli Drake, but LA Knight is, but here's my thing. This is what if you look at a guy like LA Knight, like say MJF, Edge, Christian, or Adam Copeland now, this is the difference as far as I think that's where the direction pro wrestling needs to go. It needs the athleticism of someone like a Kenny Omega and like a Jay White, but then it needs the showmanship of someone like a Roman Reigns and a MJF. You got to be able to cut those promos.
Yeah.
You got to be able to have those moments, plus have those good matches in the ring. And I think once people figure that out, wrestling will be not only the golden era of popularity, but it will be the golden era of in-ring ability as well. I think I love the fact that people are looking at indies, but this will be something we go to when we go into fandom. There's a lot of weird stuff, like the internet can make or break somebody. There's a lot of good people out there that don't get the time of day, because they aren't popular or their GIF didn't blow up, or because some people just jump on a bandwagon and they may not be that good. I mean, good for them for making their money and eating, but they may not be that good. And then someone that is really good, I've seen it before, like when Ethan Page, they're in Hamilton, right? I've known Ethan Page he's a good friend of mine, but I've known him for a long time. When he got the shot to cut a promo against MJF because they were in Hamilton or they were in Canada somewhere, so they gave him, kind of like some love. He got a shot. He cut this great promo. So I read the comments. People are like, who's this loser, this jobber? What has he ever done? It's like, you guys, that's the thing. The same, we'll use LA Knight, for example, and Impact Wrestling. LA Knight has been this guy forever. Okay, when I was in Impact Wrestling, when I first there, him and I used to have conversations about this very stuff right here. Promos, wrestling, creating moments, and not just doing spot. LA Knight has always been this guy. When he was Eli Drake, he was, yeah, dummy, yeah, let me talk to you. He was doing all of that. He's always been that guy. But because he was with Impact Wrestling, fans would always say, oh, he's stupid, he's a jobber, he's this, he's that. Now that he's at WWE, and all of a sudden these same people were saying, oh, he's dumb, he's this. But the bandwagon starts jumping on, it's a totally different thing. So whereas I'm really happy that people are looking at indie wrestling, but there's also that other side of the coin where people were like, these guys are losers. They're not on this program, yada, yada, yada. Jake Something's a perfect example. The guy is a main event talent, right? When he left Impact Wrestling, AEW, they just used him for dark, but they used him just for jobber stuff. Then he said, I'm not doing this anymore. And then Impact picked him back up, and now he's getting a main event push at Impact because if you ever look at him, if Jake, what they call, he passes the it factor. He passes the airport test. I can walk through an airport, or you can just look at me and be like, yeah, that guy doesn't look like a professional wrestler. But when you hear me talk and you actually see me in the ring, you're like, oh, I get it. You look at Jake, he could be wearing a snowsuit, and you could be like, that guy looks like he
does something.
He's and no pun intended, but like they're like, he is something. He's either a fighter, a football player, because he's larger than life, right? And he just has that. Men, women, children, they gravitate towards him. I don't care who you are. Anytime you're in a room with him, he just has that where people want to talk to him. They want to be his friend. They want to bang him. They want his autograph, whatever. That's it. And I'm not even trying to be funny, but that's just how it is. Yeah. He has that magnetism. Some people have that, and some people don't. But then it's like, but that's the thing. Jake's always been that good, or at least should have been. So where one promotion's like, no, we don't want to do anything with him, it takes another promotion to honestly like see what they have in him and push him. I'll toot my own horn. When I first went to Impact, I was just doing jobs left and right. DC Hit Squad, we weren't doing crap. We were horrible. And I wouldn't even use the name Rohit Raju on the indies because I would use Hakeem Zayn because Rohit Raju was nothing. He was a jobber to people. Right. So I had to do something different. When they gave me that X Division run, they gave me the ball and I ran with it. And those same
crushed it.
And the mic, but those same naysayers became fans because they could actually see what I was doing.
Right.
It's weird. Like I love the fact that people are tuning into lower promotions. And it's funny when people are like, when they try to crap on New Japan, it's like, do you guys realize these are some of the best wrestlers in the world? Okada, even
New Japan, it's so weird.
You may not have heard of Okada, but just because you haven't doesn't mean he's a megastar in Japan. You know what I mean? So it's that weird mentality. I do love where wrestling's going. The fact that they had that little Tuesday Night War yesterday, like there was millions of people that watched wrestling, whether they were watching AEW, whether they were watching NXT, or they were watching both. Flicking back and forth, millions of people watch wrestling. That's good for everybody. Yeah. And that, I guess, where I like that, I mean, and that can also segue later on when we start talking about fandoms, but I love that. I do think it has a long way to go. Attitude Era, to me, in 80s wrestling was really peak. I do hope it gets back to that. Twan's, Jake was looking, he is a bear. But I call him the vanilla gorilla because his arms are like down to his knees.
It's funny. So I was at a concert last year at the Dow, and he was there because we like a lot of the same music. And every time I see him, it is literally a bear hug, right? And I had a friend going like, "What's up with your friend without the sleeves on his shirt?" I'm like, he can't fit. in
Yeah,
the
they don't
he
make
can't.
shirts to
sleeves.
fit them, right?
He has to remove them. I mean, she was being funny, but I'm just like, no, literally, it's a thing. Like,
Well, just
his-
look at him.
his
He's
arms are
huge.
fucking massive.
Yeah.
So, no, and that's exactly it. And you know, I really love because that's a good way of talking about that as well too.
Told you, man.
You know, just call me out here made a comment about that as well too. If you're an actual wrestler and calling work talent a jobber, you're a mark.
Yeah, no,
I
you
mean,
were absolutely
that's
correct.
true,
but you know how people
right?
are,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Internet's horrible.
And fandom is fandom. So
Yeah.
to try, okay, so just kind of going off that, you know, we talk a little bit about, you know, even last night. We may come back around to it as well too. But as far as specifically, I do want to talk about and there's a reason why I want to bring this up, being brand specific. Just generally, what are your thoughts about seeing Adam Copeland end up at AEW?
I think it's excellent, and you got to think this guy. He did everything at WWE, and he obviously loves wrestling. I do have to say something. There are a lot of hipsters that do go to wrestling, and whether they're fans or not, sometimes they dig it, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool," you know. But there are a lot of hipsters that do go, and I usually make fun of them if I see them in the crowd. Which is, I love it. But anyways, back to Adam Copeland. I think it's excellent, and it also gives AEW that big feel like, oh man, CM Punk went there, Bryan Danielson went there, or Daniel Bryan. But it gives it like, hey, this is competition. And guess what? When you have competition, you either step your game up or you fail. So when they're going tit for tat like that, it forces both sides to be competitive. And that's when we, the fans, or myself, opens more work up for me. But it also offers for you, the fans, that, and myself, because I'm still a fan, but it gives us the best wrestling that we get to see because people are going out there not wanting to lose.
Right.
And I do know where we're going with the, you know, the brand loyalty, but like this guy loves wrestling. He's wrestled everybody at what's it called? WWE. And so just let him do his thing. He wants to wrestle new people. He wants to finish stuff out with Christian, his best friend. It's his choice. It's his health. The guy had a broken neck and he came back from it. Leave him alone, you know. But that's anything like when LeBron left and people were burning his jerseys, and then when he came back, they were singing his praises.
Right.
It's just that,
It
you know,
is.
we get too wrapped up in something that we're passionate about. And like I had to do that. I had to step away from it sometimes. I still do it. Like when we talk Star Wars.
It's tough.
But I do, unfortunately, in the word of the century is toxic. So that comes across toxic when people are going against that.
Yep. And so I definitely am going to come back to that point. But we're going to take a little brief little off side of that too, because in the vein of that, because I agree too. And like, listen, Edge is one of the few WWE wrestlers I actually got to meet. I like to make sure I say it out loud. In 1997, met him at the Breslin Center in Lansing. That was pretty gnarly. He was a good guy, good dude. I've loved Edge since the Brood. I know that's really campy as fuck to like the Brood. I'm just come on. How cool was that?
Awesome.
That
So
was
cool to
awesome.
me.
You know what I mean? And I've just always been kind of and Rated R Superstar in the mid 2000s when he was doing the whole thing with Lita, and that was wild shit for TV. And that was right before they went public too. So that was like the end of like that crazy era. To have that as well. Get under your booty hole. There you go. Yeah, see.
God, what are you,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
crap
man.
on it?
Not that side.
That's-
I don't know what that is.
It's chocolate syrup. Don't worry about it. Don't blacklight it though
I promise
either.
I didn't shit
Don't
on
bla-
it.
yeah.
Trying to do it
so-
without like ruining the camera.
No, that's
you're
fine.
right.
No, we don't have any
We have no standards.
standards here. Yeah, don't worry about it. This is real deal. You're sitting in the couch.
Hey, you're taller.
That feels.
I know, right, Josh? I know.
God,
Holy
so
shit.
much better.
Oh, you grew up. Look at the little guy
He's
here.
sprouting.
He's the old guy.
So WWE has recently signed Jade Cargill, who I was actually a big fan of, and the fans shit on her too because she was new. Listen, she's got great look.
Look at her.
She was
My God.
she was working hard. She'd never wrestled until she got involved in AEW, and she was really I think she had a tryout WWE, and they said they passed on her or something like that as well too.
Yeah.
But she was trying. She really wanted to be good at it. She was putting in the work, and she got better all the time. And the fandom just kept shitting on her. I'm like, God, like, why are we like shitting on these? She's on TV. You're not. You know what I mean? So that being said, so she's with WWE. You know, Brian Pillman Jr., another person who, first of all, I'm not a fan of his name, and I don't want to get into that, but
He's his new name.
yeah, I know, I understand
Yeah.
it, but like, man, like, just being Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW is always kind of cool because Brian Pillman was such a big name, at least at some point. But, anyways, and of course, last year Cody going to WWE, and I'm a Rhodes family mark there. I'm a mark for Rhodes family. I love Cody Rhodes. I've always been a Dustin and Dusty Rhodes fan. So, that being said, is that do you think
we're here? Sorry.
No,
We was talking about my sons. I was just listening. So
The-
proud of him. My birthday was recently. God rest in peace and make a dream. Mr. Rose, baby.
he used to wear Michigan or Michigan State stuff once in a while too.
He was a big dust,
Yeah, he was the big dust.
if you will.
Is this something that you feel is an isolated situation now, or do you think this is going to be continuous now that AEW's turned the corner in their 4 years? Is this something we're going to see more of? Is back
People
and
jumping
forth?
ship.
Yeah,
I think
off
it's,
AEW specifically, I should say.
I think you will. Because you have a ton of people that weren't anything and went to AEW and made a name for themselves. Swerve, for instance. Swerve is blowing up. They had Swerve. You know what I mean? And then I think it was when that big purge came, they got rid of him.
Dude.
And now he's like kind of going to make them regret it. But I think in due time, he'll probably go back there and be a bigger star. So it's good. It's good for you. You have to do that. Like, you have to be able to leave and grow. And sometimes you don't. Some people will leave and they won't get anything. It just happens. But I mean, for the wrestlers, it's their livelihood, it's their personal life, it's their money. So if they're going to get more money, they're going to get more opportunity. Why not? I mean, and guess what? Like, when so and so's a big star, and then they go to this company, and then they wrestle that other big star, it's a dream match,
Right.
And we just win in the end. But some people are so stubborn that they instantly are like, this is dumb, I can't believe, you know what I mean? And unfortunately we just get negative. And I get it, if that's your brand, that's your brand, fine. I understand that, but I don't think it needs to get to the point to where it's like death threats and like, I hate your guts and stuff like that. That's a little bit too
weird,
much.
man.
You can be a fan of like, or not be a fan of someone like, I wish they hadn't went there. I get it, I totally understand that. And then some people do go to other companies and don't get used well. You know, that happens too.
I mean, let's be fair. As a big AEW fan over here, it's bloated sometimes. You don't see enough. of the right people.
Rusev is a guy that I think is like tremendous, but you hadn't seen him in
They brought
forever.
CJ in now too, randomly. Did you see that? His wife.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, and it's just like some people. I don't know. I think, but then AEW has so many people that aren't even getting used that are really good. So it's just like, what do you do? And I know they added more shows, but it's like. It's crazy. I think honestly we need a third. Either Impact needs to get like a boost to where it's like $1 million company, or you need another millionaire to come and start. I heard Freddie Prinze Jr. was going to do something, but
what?
Yeah, legit.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie
Yeah, 'cause
Prinze
he
Jr.
used to
used to
write
write for WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yep,
true.
yep.
That's
So
true.
I heard he was going to do
I
something.
forgot about that.
And you have NWA. Billy Corgan runs NWA, but I don't know how
Well, you see what
they
just
pay.
happened with him in the Ohio territory thing he just did, right? He picked up some territory in Ohio, and people are like, this is starting to remind us of the territories again.
But that's good, and wrestling needs that. But wrestling needs something too where people are paying. So if that, because you're not going to get a top name going to go into one of these places if they're not getting paid good money. So that's another thing too. But I don't know. I think when people look at Impact, I think people sleep on Impact a lot.
They do.
I think you're right
And
too.
if you look at Ethan Page, right? He came from Impact. He was great there. You look at Ortiz and Santana, formerly known as LAX, Proud and Powerful. Now they're beefing. They came from Impact. You look at LA Knight. He came from Impact. You look at there's a few other people. Off the top of my head, EC3 for a minute there. He was really hot. Now he's doing stuff at NWA. He came from Impact. There are people that start at Impact. If Josh Alexander ever decided to leave Impact, he would blow up elsewhere, and he's like one of the best wrestlers out there. So it's like it's just like people sleep on that, and that's such a building block. Jake something right now, he's getting groomed to be a top guy. Sooner or later, he'll maybe he'll stay there, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go on to bigger things or different things, But the thing is, these guys are always. Impact's always been putting out good stuff. I mean, why do you think Kurt Angle went there? Why do you think Sting went there? Why do you think the Hardys were there? Where do you think the Delete Broken Matt Hardy came from? It came from there. There's other guys. Kurt Angle has some of his best matches there. Where do you think AJ Styles came from?
Man.
AJ Styles, he came from Impact. So that's what people. It blows my mind when they crap on something like that. And there's good talent in NWA that's going to become something bigger.
Yeah.
So people, and they shouldn't shit on stuff like that. You can have brand loyalty, but don't be so loyal that you close your mind
Absolutely.
to other. Because when I was a kid, I was watching AWA, NWA, World Class Wrestling, WWE, any type of wrestling I could find, I was watching it.
Yeah.
And then when like, oh, I know who they are. When the Road Warriors went to NWA, I knew who they were because I watched them in AWA. When they went to WWE, I knew who they were because I watched them in NWA. And I was like, oh, these guys are good. This and this. But it's like, as a kid, I couldn't get enough of it. And we're so lucky with the internet, with
Man.
being able to the indies. You can get you stream indie TV or like Fight TV and get these. There's so many good wrestlers out there. Don't close your mind. You may have a favorite promotion, but don't close your mind and be like, well, I'm not watching this because I hate it. No, then you're just hurting yourself and hurting your love
Right.
for professional wrestling.
And I don't know if it's Fight TV. I don't remember the website or if it's Fight TV where it is. But if you ever want to expand your indie wrestling site, honestly, there's subscriptions you can get that will open you to like AAW streams and Glory Pro streams and stuff like that. Like
Yep.
you can really get out there and really discover some great wrestling that's just more localized. And honestly, like, everybody knows I'm a big AAW fan.
Exactly,
I don't shy away from it. But one of my favorite things about it is because they're getting New Japan wrestlers are being exposed to everybody over here. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, these dummies, or they don't get, but then there's a lot of people out there that are going, holy shit, like I can't believe we're seeing them here. Like,
Yeah.
like Forbidden Door was one of the best pay-per-views this last year.
Well,
too.
Impact. Well, that's another thing too. Josh Alexander and the Motor City Machine Guns just went over to New Japan and wrestled Okada,
It's fucking crazy.
Tanahashi, and what's his name?
Love the Motor City Machine Guns.
Big bald guy. God, I can't remember his name now. Does the headbutts, the pit bull.
Are you thinking Suzuki?
No, not Minoru Suzuki. My gosh, Andita is IWTV.
Shoot, what's his name?
But there's I can't remember his name, but like
Not Suzuki.
Ishii, yeah,
Ishii.
man, Dito, all right, you're on the ball, thank you. But they just went over there and wrestled them, and then you got Will Ospreay is going to be at the Chicago pay-per-view for Impact, and you got Speedball Bailey who just went over there and wrestled at New Japan.
Yeah, I
you
saw
have
that as well, too.
my boys Ace and Chris Bay just went over there and wrestled.
$10, yep.
So
So-
it's cool, man. I mean, there's just like don't close your mind to wrestling because it's good wrestling's everywhere.
So now you guys have mentioned a couple times that New Japan is huge. Like it's big over
It
there.
is.
Is there is it as popular over here, or is there a way that they could market it better over here to kind of get more
They're
eyes
getting
on it?
there actually right now. I feel like
What's that?
They're getting. I feel like they're getting there. I'm seeing more and more friends of mine that are getting exposed to it, talking about it more and more. And I think AEW has helped some, but I think they're getting to that point. They have a part of their promotion is over here now as well too, right?
Well, they have a school, the LA Dojo School.
That's what it was. LA.
My boy, big shout to Rocky Romero. I love Rocky. Rocky's the best. But they were doing the New Japan Strong for a bit, but it just didn't go over as well. I hope New Japan blows up bigger over here. They were, for a little bit, it was boom, and they kind of trailed off a little bit. But I think, I mean, with the power of the internet, if people just, you gotta, the thing New Japan will have a hard time getting is the people that just love the entertainment aspect of it. Now, there are entertaining wrestlers in New Japan, but when it comes to the guys that can cut the promos,
Yeah.
that they may not, because these guys are speaking straight up Japanese. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Besides, like
So
some of the
you
American
have that
talent.
disconnect. You don't have
Yes,
it.
so that style of wrestling
Oh, the-
might not be for everybody. So you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's the thing, because American style of wrestling, and Mexican style, and European style, and Japanese style, it's all different.
Right.
So like when I look at like a lot of other different sorts of media, whether it's movies, TV shows, things of that nature, you know, you talk about how like there needs to be some more bigger platforms, like Impact needs to get a little bit bigger, and AEW to get on that same level as AEW. Do you think like if something like New Japan starts getting big over here, is there a concern of like oversaturation where there's just like too much to absorb and people kind of get lost in the mix, even though it's huge on all fronts? You know, is it still difficult to kind of like break through when you have so many different like platforms?
I think it'd be hard to break through, just like we were talking earlier about like all these Marvel TV shows and Star Wars TV shows.
Right.
Why they're not doing well, it's because it's quality over quantity.
Sure.
If you have quality wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
then it won't be oversaturated. But I think if you had, say you had like this big boom in wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
the good will rise to the top, the
Sure.
cream will rise to the top, but everything else will
That's right.
sink because they're gonna be like, well, that's not that good. Like so, WWF back in the day did so well because Vince poured all that money into the production, and it wasn't just pro wrestling; it was a spectacle.
Yeah, it was a
All
show.
the characters
Yeah.
were over the top. They had
Yes.
like the big pyro, and then so they were doing it really big. And then so that it was something different, so it took off with like the mainstream media, whereas like NWA was still like professional wrestling, but it still did well because it was more believable and had like a better production than say like the AWA or World Class from back in the day. So that helps too. But like so, it's just and honestly, there's a few factors that go into it. But I think if there was this big, I don't know if wrestling could be oversaturated. It can be oversaturated with the same program.
Sure.
Like AEW has like what 3 shows, and I don't think they all do well. I don't know. What do they got?
AEW,
They have Collision, they have
the
Dynamite,
and
Rampage, and they have Ring of Honor too.
which they don't do
So-
enough as a separate brand. I'm going to say that out loud.
What's that? Ring of Honor.
They should do. It needs to be more brand split away.
I think different people should run it. Like Tony runs everything, but
Yeah.
I mean, I get it why he does because he wants certain things a certain way, so it makes sense. But I think sometimes he may stretch himself too thin.
He does.
I don't know him like that, but that's just my observation. Is like
I mean, you would
you
almost think
can't-
that from anybody.
yes,
taking
like
on
any
that
type
much.
of boss,
Yeah.
you know, in anything you can
You
you can
can
only
stretch
do
yourself
so
too thin,
much.
Mhm.
But I do think so. I think they may oversaturate their brand.
Right.
But then again, you have like 200 people on that roster, and probably like maybe
a
75 of them are on TV all the time.
Right.
So maybe not even that. So you got to think like that. To me, that's where the oversaturation would go. But whereas WWE has 3 shows: NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, and you have different people on each show.
Mhm.
So I think that is really good. I
Right.
think they do it correctly, and their brand is so built that they've taken a few hits.
Mhm.
And there was a while there it was like horrible, but then they started to get back on the ball and do things a little bit better, a little bit different. And so I think once you figure out that formula, what works for you and then your audience, you just have to figure out how to grow it. Because AEW has a really niche audience right now. They just have to, I think, bringing in people like when CM Punk was there, when Adam Copeland's now there, when you bring in those names and it creates this buzz,
Yep.
you bring in people that don't, well,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I remember him. Let me go
Right.
watch this.
Right.
So, and that helps like with WWE when, The Undertaker showed up or when The Rock showed up. What, The Rock showed up? Like,
Yeah.
oh, man, I better start watching SmackDown again. You know what I mean?
Right,
So they
right.
tune in for a little bit and maybe they like what they see and they
Yeah.
stay or
You
maybe they
introduce
don't.
some of the smaller
Yeah.
wrestlers and some people that are not familiar with.
But you get a spike of viewership and
Exactly.
then some people, maybe it may stay up there a little
You
bit.
might hook a
and then
few.
people might trickle down a little bit.
Yeah, it might be a view. So we've actually touched some great points that I was going to bring up on a couple. So I'm going to kind of bounce around just a little bit here, but I do want to go back to the toxic fandom because this is the big piece for me.
Yeah.
Just generally overall, and more specifically, and I keep calling it tribalism fandom. And I know sometimes I bite into it. I'm very self-aware of who I am, and sometimes even the gatekeepingness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a bit, but I understand it. However, the way the fans react to some of this stuff is especially, and I'll get to it here in a second about even the dirt sheets, but in the last year and a half, it's ramped up pretty bad. I feel like to the point where like you could have 10 reports in one day about a different topic from the same dirt sheets about whatever's going on, and it's like, it's like we're trying to get, we're at this point now where media is just trying to get reactions and play into like some form of emotional intelligence. And it's like that with everything. It's always been like that. But I feel like it's gotten really, really bad with wrestling. And I don't jump in a lot of the comments. I sometimes like or stuff like that. And once in a while, like I'll see something, I'll just put some dumb gif in it. I don't try to talk or to debate these people. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, and this is actually because of Adam coming to AEW. Now, listen, I'm not a big Punk fan. I appreciated the pipe bomb. He left wrestling for a lot of years. I don't want to get down in that whole discussion. I will say I watched his initial entry into AEW, was excited because he seemed like he was happy to be back.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I was limited to my excitement because I just overly don't care for CM Punk as much as some people do. Edge is a different story. Adam Copeland is different for me. I was generally like waiting on the edge of my seat watching this pay-per-view
You were
because he was
edging.
rumored. There you go. Because I was waiting, and then Alter Bridge hit, and I freaked out, man. And like I swear to God, I'm like
I
a
will
kid.
say the video in the beginning was kind of, I thought that was silly. To me, if they just had hit his music
Yeah.
without that
Yeah.
video, it was a huge pop. I think it would have been even better without
I think it was the creative, and because he talked about that in the scrum actually.
Did he?
He said that
Scrum.
it felt really cool at 2 a.m. to be in Seattle, holding a camera guy out a window recording shit.
Yeah,
And I think that it's that creative control that these guys are missing, especially when you come from someone at WWE. It gave him a new sense of renewal to what wrestling had been for him and what he loved about it at one time as well too.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting in the seat and I swear to fucking God, as soon as the music hit, I did the same thing he did, standing up there. Like I probably like a little kid, like.
But if you look at his face when he walks out, that was genuine.
He was genuinely
you know what I mean? So
excited.
So when people say, "Oh, why did he do that?" That was why, because he loves it. So when he went out there and he got that huge reaction, I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh, such a great pop.
I don't even know the guy, and I was happy for him.
Yeah.
But that shows like he was happy, and that was a moment for him, not alone us.
Yep.
But it was a moment for him. So that should be like, that's why he's doing it.
So what I saw, and this is what sparked a lot of this thought process and why I wanted to talk to you about this stuff. This is the catalyst for it. As somebody who's a big Cody fan and watched him go to WWE and was heartbroken because he was a mainstay for me in AEW, but because I'm a Rhodes family fan, I was excited for him because I knew that's what he wanted to do. It was good for his career, and he does fit really well in what WWE does with his product. He can adapt better than most. I feel like he had been there.
Yeah, really.
And it's going to help platform him even higher. I am a fan, and I always be a fan. Now, what I was seeing on the internet after Adam got on AEW was very, very like, I was pretty pissed because I don't want to try and start splitting fans in half, and I probably will a little bit just because it's an observation as somebody who still appreciates all wrestling. The only reason, if you don't know, and I've talked about it before, the only reason I don't watch WWE is because Vince McMahon is in charge. In some sense.
God damn it, pal.
That's the only reason. I watched for 8 months when Triple H had control and Vince had retired. Then I was watching WWE. Until Vince is no longer involved, I will not watch that product. I just can't do it by principle alone.
Vincent Price,
but
McMahon.
I do keep tabs on certain people out there. Bay, of course, who is Rhea Ripley, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Kevin and Sammy, and some of and of course Randy Orton. Those are some of my favorites that are still in WWE. Yep, some of my favorites in WWE. I do keep tabs on those folks. Now, WWE fans, the one that stopped me was literally a guy had said. And this was the nicest way that he had said it compared to everybody. He said he literally turned his back on his fans. That's literally what the guys, and that's what spun this whole conversation for me, because that really
so dumb.
Because that triggered me. I'm like, how can you sit there and say him going at the end of Near's career, and even Triple H said he even said that that they didn't realize either of them had anything else left for each other.
Exactly.
And he wanted more. And we know him and Christian are best friends. They want to do something together again. They want another run or whatever. And and this is what I wanted to happen, which is them to go head to head at least first. I wanted them to go head to head. I didn't want
what's going to happen later on though.
Right. And I didn't. I wanted. This is what they're doing now is actually what I wanted, because I knew it would bring the best out of both of them. And so far in just a couple of shows, it's done that. So, how do you feel when you hear or see something like that? Because I know how it made me feel. Like as a fan who tries to objectively try to enjoy like all the product, just wrestling.
I don't mean this in no disrespect to anybody in the chat or anybody watching or anything like that. I hate not individually. It's like saying, man, I hate people. I don't hate individuals, but I hate people. Yeah, I hate fandom.
Yep.
Okay. I see it, the internet, like we were saying, how good it is for people to get recognized and noticed and indie wrestling to blow up or whatever. It's also, the flip side of the internet. I see it, and we'll get into it when we talk about Ahsoka as well. You're either on, it's like politics. You're either on this side or that side, and the logical people are in the middle. You can like something, but you don't have to do it towards to that, like, oh, he turns his back on his fans. Dude loves wrestling. Let him wrestle.
Right.
He wants to go wrestle with his best friend. Let him go wrestle with his best friend. He did everything at WWE. Let him do something new. And then if he can ever come back, he'll come back and it'll be even more special. You know, it's like, I just don't understand that mentality. We're fans of things. Yes, we're passionate about it, but we don't own it. We don't have to like it, but you can discuss that.
Blanco, I'm seeing you.
You can discuss that. Sorry, Pumpkin Spice fans, they'll kill you. They will. You can dislike something and be cordial about it. You know what I mean? You're like, man, I really wish Edge hadn't made that choice. But you know, it is what it is. Say that. You don't have to do all this other stuff where you're crapping on the product, saying, "Oh, Tony Khan's a piece of shit," blah blah blah. You know, stuff like that. Or Adam Copeland, what a stupid. Why he's going to do? You know, it doesn't need to get to that level. You don't have to like something, but when it starts to get to that toxic fandom, it's like, and you see it in every aspect of that tribalism.
So when they say he turned his back on
Betrayed, yeah.
Betrayed his, are they saying like by leaving WWE he betrayed?
Yes.
But I mean, if you're a fan of his,
right,
wouldn't you just be a fan wherever he goes? I mean, if you're such a fan,
it's the brand loyalty thing.
See, that's fucking weird.
It really
to me,
is.
Man.
I mean, we see it in video games all the time.
Yeah,
you see it in every
big time.
Like,
and it's just it's so weird. I mean, like, look, if I'm a fan of a performer, whether it's in sports, movies, or whatever, and they're behind a certain brand, and if they leave and go somewhere else, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, what the fuck? Right. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna just go watch them over there then. You know, I don't understand that logic. That's weird.
If he had said, you know what, I'm going to AEW. Fuck WWE and fuck all you fans. Then okay, cool. If he had did something that was like wrong, egregious, or he was like super arrogant about something, then I could be like, oh, I could see that, you know. Or if he was like, well, I'm going to AEW because I believe this and I don't believe this, and then it became like this weird thing.
Yeah, if you make it personal, then
yes, but he's
doing what's best for him.
Well,
it's
not
just
only
a
that,
career decision. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like WWE and both of them said, there wasn't much more that they had for him. Like the Judgment Day thing didn't go as planned. He talked about that recently, apparently on Talk is Jericho. They rushed that whole process. You know, if you're not aware of all that, you can go back and even see that like a year and a half ago when all that happened.
Yeah.
It didn't go the way they planned. They rushed it. He wasn't overly happy about it as well too. But you know, they've got a lot of other talent. WWE is a little bit more tighter on the belt with their talent, and that's fine. That's how they roll things. And Edge is a big draw and still a big name, and clearly, you know, he can still do that. It might not be as big as other folks, but again, like for somebody like me, I was really hyped because I do watch AEW more frequently. So to be able to see him once again be in that kind of limelight as the rated R superstar, still be able to use that name, still be able to use this, you know, the Alter Bridge song as well too. What is it, Metalingus, or you know, that's still exciting for me as well too. But you know, if AEW's got work for him and want to put some center around him, put him like near the top. You know, and it's not like they're taking limelight from any of the newer guys. Like MJF's still getting plenty of fucking time.
Right.
Darby's still getting plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know, throw him at the top as well too. Why not?
If anything, they'll be putting those guys over soon. I mean, look at Daniel Bryan. He does that. These guys don't hold anybody down. They share it. And where'd it go? Perfect Wolf. That's a great response. Like, yeah, he wanted Edge to be a lifer, but he gets it. He's not, you know, saying fuck Edge or anything like that. He's like, yeah. He doesn't like it that he did it, but he gets it. So that's like same thing. It's like when we talk Star Wars, like there's a lot of things I don't like about Star Wars. I mean, I wish they would change it. I'm still going to watch Star Wars. And then when it comes to the point where if it's never changes, I guess I just won't watch it anymore. Because then it's like, I can't, you're making the same mistakes. I can't. I mean, that's a little bit different. There's like, they're not brand jumping, but we'll get into that too. But no, and then the Cuddles, I don't feel like in AEW, I think the older talent, and we were talking about Jericho earlier, they put over the younger talent real well. And sometimes putting over younger talent doesn't mean you lose the match. It means you go, the under talent's treated like an underdog, but you help make them look good. You help make them look like they're on your level. So when you do beat them, they come out just as good. Remember when, I don't know if you guys remember how long you're wrestling fans, but when Bret Hart and Steve Austin wrestled, I think it was for the Intercontinental titles at the one WrestleMania, when Austin was the heel, the bad guy, and he was bleeding all over the place, but Bret Hart was acting like a piece of shit. Even though Steve Austin lost that match, and they did the double switch where Brett was the heel after that match. Brett was a bad guy, and Austin came out as a good guy. That match, even though he lost, it did more for Austin than winning because he passed out and he was bleeding all over the place. And there was that awesome visual of him, and he's literally screaming. You can see the blood just, just dripping from his head. But him losing meant more than winning. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
So sometimes with the younger talent, they don't always have to win, but if they make the younger talent look good, they're getting the younger talent over. So the next time they meet and the younger talent wins, it means more.
It's exactly
it's like when Rocky lost in the first Rocky. I mean, he lost, but everyone was like, "Man, I fucking love this guy."
Exactly.
Or it's exactly like Rosie Perez said to Woody Harrelson in White Men Can't Jump. Sometimes when you win, you lose. And
Billy, give me a
sometimes
glass
when
of
you
water.
lose, you win.
Give me a glass of water, Billy. Billy, give me a glass of water.
Oh man, I got to fucking reference White Man Can't Jump.
Did you see the new one?
Shut the fuck
Duck
up.
and Goose. I refuse to watch that.
The King of the Duck.
Horseshit.
King of the Duck.
King of the Duck. That's right. I always say Duck and Goose for some reason. Yeah, King of the Duck.
King of the Duck. King of the Duck. Anyways,
Yeah.
No, I appreciate your perspective on that. It was really heartbreaking to see that because, and I don't want to, like I said, look, here's my thing. And I also got to know I got definitely some blinders on because I do preference AEW currently, but I do keep an eye on WWE as much as I can, specifically also certain people as well. But I find, and I think everybody's going to have a different perspective on this, but I do follow a lot of different wrestling groups on Facebook, Twitter, and things like that. I have found in my personal observation that of the two fandoms, the WWE fans are the most toxic. And the only reason I can feel that way is because of their super brand loyalty. They don't like the competition.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying AEW doesn't have any because they certainly do. I've seen plenty of them. But from what I've seen more often than not, it has been the WWE fandom being so absolutely toxic, right?
I'm sure.
He
does, too.
That's pretty
Jericho
fucking
looks like my aunt on her way to Sunday
That's
Night
fucking
Bingo.
great.
That's pretty good.
That's fucking brilliant. But yeah, that's been my observation because I've never, like when Cody moved on or even Jade, like you're going to have both sides say stuff. But, when I saw, and maybe it's because Edge is somewhat of a bigger name, and I don't even want to get into CM Punk fans that simp so hard on that. Like, again, you're a common denominator no matter what side of the fence you fall on. That whole thing, I'm just, WWE said today they're not going to pick them up either because they said right now the cons outweigh the pros on that, and I think that was a great choice. Not without fault from either, both sides, when he was in AEW for sure. But it's pretty well known by a lot of people that a lot of major talents don't like working with CM Punk because he's not easy to work with. And if your characteristic is you're hard to work with and you're an asshole, that says more about your
why
character.
work so hard to get that type of reputation?
I don't get it either. I don't
like
get it
at some point you got to realize when you realize, hey, I'm not working and nobody wants to work with me. At what point do you look in the mirror and think to yourself, I need to fucking change my ways a little bit?
Like,
maybe this time he will, but who knows?
This will cause a stir. I don't think he's that great of a wrestler either. So
CM Punk fans of the wrestling version of Swifties changed my mind. Hey, don't forget, exclamation point enter. You have 20 minutes. We're going to draw a winner for a Rohit Raju t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. Exclamation point enter.
Exclamation point
20 minutes. You have to be here to claim it. Get in there. Enter in right now for a chance to win.
I think my favorite shirt that I have on there, I wish I had the Wu-Tang design. I have an old Hakeem Zayn one, but I wouldn't recommend that one just because I never go by Hakeem Zayn anymore. But my favorite one is, I always like Dragon Ball Z, and there used to be this character called Oob. And so I had someone draw me as Oob when I had the mohawk, and it's like an anime version of that. But I also have there's a double R one. I actually have that in stock, at my house, because I'm actually going to start selling those at shows. So if you pick that one, we can get it to you quicker because I can just give it to one of them, and we can go from there.
Ooh, you got a question. Rohit, what do you know about Riddle? Why does WWE get rid of guys that can actually wrestle?
Don't know. I don't know the whole thing about him. I think he got in trouble for some stuff. I don't know.
I thought some drug testing issues as well too.
I think so.
Those issues where you fail.
Yeah, well, I think there was an incident at an airport, but some of it was his fault, and so I honestly don't know, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they would have got rid of him because from what I heard, they had plans for him. So who knows?
Just call me. I think he says he mods for Colt Cabana, and the amount of harassment and feature role that dealt with stream is staggering. He's genuinely nice. And
yeah, Colt's really nice.
And that to me, the test, like, that's night and day people, because Colt Cabana is known to be a great guy.
Yeah,
seems like a super great guy. So I appreciate you sharing that as well. Just call me. I know what you mean by that, and I trust me. I don't doubt, and it's probably pretty ridiculous, and I'm sorry to hear that he still has to deal with that, because I think it's unfair.
He'll be at Glory Pro on Sunday. He's teaming he's teaming with Dan the Dad.
He's such a great guy. I wish we were friends, but we're not. But
that's just crazy, man. I mean, you guys, again, we were just talking about how important the internet is in terms of like getting more exposure and whatnot, but it's also just a really shitty fucking place.
It is, and someone had put 50-50 in the chat, and it's 50-50. Some people are just
gotcha.
It's
Gotcha.
bad.
There's just no way to really monitor what people are doing and what their intentions are, and when they get on there up behind the anonymity of the internet, it gets pretty nasty.
Yeah,
Thanks, Crash. I
appreciate that. Yeah,
that.
appreciate you being here. Yeah, just call Twans as well too. Twans is also a fan of wrestling, and she's a super fan too, and super supportive as well too.
And Dita, I think I've seen. I think you. I can't tell by your picture. I can't remember if you follow me on social media or not, but I could be wrong. But thanks for coming in the chat today.
Yeah, we appreciate having you here.
Thanks for coming back, Panda Eating Pancakes. I know that person's been in and out.
He had to go take a shower.
He had to go take a
He had to
shower.
go clean his ass, and now he's back.
You didn't miss Ahsoka yet.
No,
so
we have not gotten to Ahsoka
We're about
yet.
to
We've been
shortly.
talking about some wrestling.
So appreciate you having you, because Just Call Me's added some great perspective as well too out there.
Thanks for the permission.
But that's pretty much for the most part what I want to jump into here. I did see that Sammy Callan looks like he's living in Impact. Is that?
I don't know with Sammy, and
Is that-
I
I've been
saw
seeing
that
that move
too. But Sammy's done everything there. I mean, what else can Sammy do? But who knows? I know Sammy and Dean Ambrose are really good friends. Sammy has a great promotion, PW Revolver, which he needs to book me on. But he was going to book me for something, but I was doing a different show. So, but I want to do his PW Revolver for real. Cool. But Sammy, he's a great dude, great wrestling mind. And nothing but the best of luck for him wherever he goes, whether he goes back to Impact, goes AEW, WWE, whatever he does. Sammy's great. And he's genius when it comes to wrestling. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, and in the because him and Mox are really good friends. That's the biggest push I'm seeing right now as well too. And we all want him and Ethan and the gang to do another Fat Food Fest. That is still one of the all-time greatest.
Told him that when I saw him
So
last.
good.
We did.
Where'd you guys go last? Where'd you guys go last? That was promoted. Was it Arby's?
We did Arby's. We were in St. Louis, so we did Arby's. We had Strange Donuts.
Strange Donuts.
We had this one place that was the original Dairy Queen, but Dairy Queen stole the idea from them, and then we went to this deep dish or this real Chicago style pizza place. Man, I had so much food I thought I was gonna puke, and it was tremendous. But we went the last time we went to Pages and we lifted weights, and there was like a festival going on downtown, and we kind of had like a little mini Fat Food Fest. We all bought. Yeah, we weren't recording it; we were just hanging out. But it was funny. We bought like these hot like cookies that were all bunched in this like container together, and like all these standalone cookies, and like him and I went and grabbed like ice cream smoothies. We ate so much food, and after we lifted weights, and they had to heat cook steak, and we ate steak while we were there. I played around with his kids, played basketball. We had fun, man. It was a blast.
You know what we need to do is collaborate and do a beer quest with you guys to the Great Lakes Beer Festival next year.
Honestly,
August.
We don't drink beer.
Well, I mean, that's okay. You can just go there and watch us get drunk, and just you guys can like run around and play the games in the field.
I drink like I'll drink liquor, but like I barely drink that anymore too.
What's it?
No, I'm good.
It's a cream pie, bro.
I did have the double for my cheat day. I had a double-decker oatmeal cream pie.
Oh,
So good. And a donut.
Another guy who loves a good cream pie. I love it.
Hey.
I love it.
Hey.
King says, "Yeah, I'm excited as always to be the current Cuddles Wrestling Federation
Bullshit.
champion.
That's bullshit.
Typically, I am too. So yes, that's great. No,
$500 Cuddles. Let's do it.
Yeah, right. So, well, just to kind of wrap up again, I know we don't normally don't talk about wrestling. I appreciate that. I know we got to dive into some Soca here, and you kind of alluded to what's been going on at the beginning to what you've been doing as well too. So, are you still working with AAW too as well?
I have not done AAW in quite some time. I did freelance, and they were kind of sour about that, but I'm just trying to get paid. I'm sure if I hit up Danny, I could go back. I just haven't really had the urge to, but I love AAW. I love all the guys there. My friends still work there, so I think I will. I'll try and go back there sooner or later.
You cut some awesome promos when you were there, man.
It was so much fun, and that was the first place that really let me let loose and cut loose and say what I wanted, and it was all like real how I felt.
Yeah.
The funny thing was when I was doing it behind the mask, everyone thought those promos were Killer Cross and LA Knight. That goes to show you something. Then when I took it off, everyone was like, "Who's this guy?" You know, the guy that you thought was cutting those hot ass promos that you thought were Killer Cross, you know, WWE Superstar Killer Cross, and LA Knight, WWE Superstar LA Knight, but who are on top of the game right now, and you thought those promos were them. So that should tell you something.
That tells you everything.
Then
you
I'm
need to know.
really, really good. But then you're like, oh, it's just short brown guy. So let's not like him. Well, fuck yourselves. How about that?
What kind of gifts can fans give? Athletic tape, Starbucks restaurant gift cards?
If you guys want to give me gifts,
he likes food.
I never thought, like, I will say this that's not me. I honestly should do more because like the gay community loves me, man. Like they're always, you guys out there messaging me some wild shit. You need to stop that because that's not okay. Because if we were to do that to a woman, some of the stuff you guys message me is pretty bad. But I laugh it off. I'm like, okay, you guys are just horny dudes, so it's
Hey,
whatever.
man, it's good to be loved.
Yeah,
it's good
it
to
is
be
good to be loved.
desired, man.
But like,
Yeah,
so
dude,
I always
knock
thought
it
about,
off, by the way.
I
dude,
can't
like,
help it. It's my
I wasn't gonna say
my
anything.
burner account.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I know,
Yeah, his
right?
burner account says it's dude 97.
Dude 97 the bear.
Oh man.
No, I'd probably join Jake. I'd have to wrestle Jake. I don't know, but I'm glad that Ren and X are doing well at AAW. It's about time. But
Yeah.
Man, if you guys ever want to get me gifts, I don't like asking for this stuff, but I see a lot of wrestlers, a lot of female wrestlers especially, because dudes are just suckers, man. But they have their Amazon wish list and they clean up. But if you ever want to give me a gift, I will take gift cards, food.
He likes food.
I usually test the food first because I never know if it's poisoned. I'm that paranoid. But like,
He always comes over and goes, hey, try
yeah,
this.
hey, try
Right,
this.
Napoleon over here.
Athletic tape's huge. Wrestlers always need athletic tape. Black athletic tape, or white athletic tape. My God, baby oil. I always baby oil up before I go out there. I wear thongs underneath my gear because my cheeks, I got cheeks, so I got.
Which, by the way, we'll be
Christmas
also raffling
hams.
those off here in about a half hour.
I got two Christmas hams back there, so my trunk's always Ahmed Johnson it. So everyone's like, you can't, like your underwear is showing. So I was like, I really don't want to wear a thong, but I wear a thong. And it's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, it's like very comfortable.
You heard it here first.
Got to have those safety underwear. I don't like the cups. I don't do that. I used to do that with MMA, but like the thongs though. Like,
Yeah, it was just like a
pretty
couple of
good.
seashells, like a scone or something, some string.
But yeah, if you ever want to do that, food is the main
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Because I'll see some ladies get like PS5s off their wish list.
Create an Amazon wish list.
You
Dudes,
should create one.
dudes are
Get a
silly.
PS5 on there. You get a PS5 on there. So
About to clean up the thong section for you. I always need some, so there you go.
lastly, before we jump here, so do you know who your next opponent is?
If Glory Pro right now it's up in the air for transportation for Glory Pro, but it would be Cody Lane.
If you want to cut a promo right now,
I'll cut a promo for my t-shirts.
cut a promo for your
Let me
t-shirts then. Do
see.
that. There you go.
If you want to walk around in style and look like a Greek god, and better yet, an almond Adonis, a mocha skinned manimal such as myself, Rohit F. Baby, the Rotorious, Rohit Raju, the HIT, that's me, that's right. You can go to my ProWrestlingTees.com/Rohit. Now, I know the stuff is a little bit outdated, but if you haven't been there, it's new to you. So guess what? Go there, pick out a t-shirt, hit enter, exclamation point. Is that what it is?
Exclamation point, enter.
Exclamation point, enter, and you may win one for free. If not, go there anyways. Check out my stuff. Hit me up on the old Raju Zane 80 on Insta. See all my cool stuff that I'm posting, all my shorts, all my reels. You can see maybe post my dogs once in a while. Probably not because I don't like to post personal stuff, but I'm always on there. Gym selfies all the time. If you really want to get awesome, you hit up my Patreon. I'm always running my mouth on there about everything, and then you will see my dogs on there and cool stuff like that. But other than that, go get yourself a sweet t-shirt, look awesome, look like a mocha skinned manimal, maybe not as jacked, but just as sweet.
I want to look like a bag of
you.
milk.
Bag of yogurt, bag of milk.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So, well, I appreciate, like I said, getting a chance to jump into that. Like you've seen, you guys out there, the exclamation point Rohit that we just pulled out there. You can follow his socials there as well too.
3 seashells, like from
Get you a link
Demolition
tree.
Man.
Yeah, man.
I should get a
We need
link.
to get you
You're
a
right.
link tree.
You're right.
Get it all in there.
The old man doesn't know.
We're working with you.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. For you. That's
Social
why we're here.
media, you can
why we're
follow me on X. Is it called X? I don't understand.
It's X or something.
Exclamation
Oh,
mark
Mocha
enter if you
Midas,
want
I
to get
like
that.
Yeah,
one.
exclamation mark enter. You got 10 minutes left to enter in for a chance to win
Right.
Rohit Raju a T-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees.